Thank you, Louise. So I'm going to give a brief overview then of this threat. So what are we up against? Well, kleptocracy is not exactly law and order. So the global geopolitical threat, the biggest threat to our national security, is the generally corrosive impact of kleptocracy on freedom and democracy around the world. Much of what we see and we'll talk about today isn't kleptocracy per se, but corruption of various sorts undermining our stability operations, our foreign aid, and our foreign policy, more broadly speaking. Given that all these foreign operations of ours cost a lot, it is money being stolen from taxpayers, from us going into the pockets of bad actors who are not exactly advocates for our values and objectives. This should be extremely distressing to our body politic, and left uncorrected will perhaps lead to disengagement, leaving behind power vacuums that will be filled one way or the other. The global network of offshore secrecy jurisdictions is really a global malfeasance network. This very system is a national security threat to all free nations, to all democracies, for it enables lawlessness. That's the whole point of it. If you are law-abiding, you don't go offshore. And left unchecked, this system will continue to eat at our societies like gangrene. Might we possess a weapon of mass leverage? Could be. Curtailing the perversions of the offshore finance system. This is not a new subject. What is new is that freedom and democracy are falling apart, and there should be now a sense of urgency that was not imperative before. Until recently, one could reasonably say that the issues were ones of fairness, social justice, crime fighting, a threat to free markets. But only recently has the melding of kleptocrats and offshore secrecy metastasized into an existential threat to civilization as we know it. What is the liberal democracy and capitalism that we can export nowadays? Law and order? Hey, I got these pals at, I won't mention any names, various legal firms that can help you with that. When we think about the pervasiveness of the kleptocratic threat, we should focus, among other things, on economic power, because that's what's behind a lot of this. We take it away, which we can do, and a lot of other problems shrink to manageable size. The economic power of kleptocrats is, for the most part, safeguarded by us in the West. This is crazy. We need to come to our senses and close off our system to those bent on its decay. This national security threat is pervasive because the system that enables it is pervasive. The Panama Papers, the Paradise Papers, how much more evidence is needed to wake us up to the enormity of this national security challenge? Now, that's my spiel. And I would like, let me see, I have a few minutes. So what I would like to do is simply cite a few authors and things that have been published recently, which corroborate what I just said. In Foreign Affairs, there was an excellent article by Thorsten Benner, whom we hosted here recently. He's a German think tank, runs a think tank in Germany. And this is the last paragraph of his Foreign Affairs piece. 20 years ago, the German-British sociologist Ralph Dahrendorf argued that a century of authoritarianism is by no means the most unlikely prospect for the 21st century. Preventing that outcome from materializing is the central task of open societies today. Internal illiberal challenges pose the greatest threat, but they must not be fortified from without. The first order of business must be to disrupt the all too smooth links between authoritarian states and their enablers among Western elites, and to regulate one-sided openness that allows authoritarians to influence liberal democracies. Only if this first line of defense holds will open societies be in a position to stand up for their values, curtail the international influence of authoritarians, and hinder their ability to oppress and rob their citizens. Yesterday, or the day before, in the Washington Post, the last paragraph of a piece by Alex Cooley and Jason Sharman, both experts in this field. Cooley having recently published a book on this subject in terms of Eastern Europe. His last paragraph: if 1990s-style globalization was about footloose multinational companies looking to invest in new places, the new era sees kleptocrats and many others taking advantage of a new age of individual globalization, not only moving capital around, but shopping for corporate, physical, and legal residency. This means that we need to pay less attention to how countries move up and down the anti-corruption rankings, and more to transnational networks and service providers that enable kleptocracy on a global scale. And lastly, our own Sarah Chase, if I can find her. Well, where are you, Sarah? I guess I'm missing Sarah's piece, but Sarah, I should have mentioned actually earlier in thanking people. Sarah Chase has been very much part of the organization of this event today, and she couldn't be with us. And she has a recent piece in which she mentions the pervasiveness of the system I refer to, and also its horizontality. So in other words, we can't look at country by country. We must look at this as a pervasive global system. And I guess Kate's going to have 3 extra minutes. I'm finishing early. All right, thank you.